Finally, after a lot of possibly will they, won't they release Coyote versus Acme of Warner Brothers. And it looked like for a while that we weren't going to probably get this movie because Warner Brothers wrote it off and said, yeah, fuck you, Looney Tunes, fuck you, this movie. And so, yeah, it looked like for a while we weren't going to be able to see this movie. Although I've always knew that either through leaking, hacking, somehow this movie was going to get out. It was just a matter of how and when. And fortunately, it was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to take years and years from now to like have a hack or Warner Bros. Has some like fucking data leak and the movie gets released that way, or like the new Avatar movie that got leaked online, something like that, pretty much. But no, we actually got the Ketchup Entertainment Company, which I believe is the same company that released the Looney Tunes The Day the World Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie that came out last year. Same ones that are releasing Coyote versus Acme. So this is two for Ketchup for saving Looney Tunes. I mean, this is kind of like a little side tangent, but I mean, with Warner Brothers being sold to Paramount, can we just make the Looney Tunes public domain? Because it really doesn't seem like Warner Brothers. I mean, maybe now with them being bought by Paramount, it'll be different. But as it stands, Warner Brothers for a long time now has just not given a single fuck about Looney Tunes. Like, first of all, they almost let a whole lot of the cartoons get lost, and Tubi had to save them. And then now all these other companies are having to release and save Looney Tunes movies to be released. And it's like, man, this is like Mickey Mouse for Disney. If like somehow Disney fucked up like releasing a Donald Duck or Goofy movie and like some third party had released it. It's the same with the Looney Tunes. Like they are maybe not the biggest staple of Warner Bros., but they're certainly up there. Like, I mean, they're up there in the top five. Like, there's a reason people think of Bugs Bunny and Warner Brothers versus Mickey Mouse and Disney. Those are like the two poster childs of both companies. But nonetheless, we finally got the trailer, and I have to say, I like what we saw. The live action animation and live action looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's fully like it doesn't seem like it's along the lines of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where you at least for me, I can kind of tell at the end with a Foghorn Leghorn. It looks like there's a weird, and they've done this for a few movies that have live action over the last few years. They do this weird 3D, 2D hybrid, and it looks kind of off. And I only noticed it with Foghorn Leghorn. He was the only one that noticeably stood out, where he looked not like a video game character, but he noticeably looked more 3D than like a 2D animated character in a live action environment. But it could also be a case because this movie comes out in August, so there's a few months before release, so they could do some touch ups and finishing some stuff up. And I'm sure what we're seeing now obviously is not the final product, but besides that, it looks pretty good. It doesn't remind me, obviously the main comparison is Roger Rabbit, but I think this is more of back in action. This kind of reminds me of being not like a sequel or anything, but it reminds me of kind of like a continuation of if the back in action movie had not bombed at the box office and kept making movies. I feel like this is a movie that would have probably come from a line of back in action movies. And I was also surprised to see, speaking of back in action, Donald Duck, Daffy Duck, and Bugs Bunny are in the trailer. And also, it seems like most of the Looney Tunes are in this movie. I thought this was just going to be a Wile E. Coyote and a Roadrunner movie, but apparently they're going to have Tweety, Foghorn, and Daffy, and Bugs, and I think there was someone else I'm blanking on, but I'm sure we're probably going to see most of the Looney Tunes. It's kind of funny because the Looney Tunes Back in Action that came out last year, that movie only had Porky Pig and Daffy Duck, and that was it. There were no other Looney Tunes. Like fucking Bugs wasn't even mentioned by Daffy. None of the other Looney Tunes were even mentioned. So it's even questionable if they even exist in that Looney Tunes universe. But in this one, it's a complete 180 where all the Looney Tunes are in there. And I kind of like it though, because at the same time, I forgot, but Wile E. Coyote, he does talk scarcely, but he doesn't really say much. So if you just had Wile E. Coyote being the main animated character, you would just have a character who's just standing there not saying anything for the whole movie. So I kind of see why they want to add other Looney Tunes that can talk and actually interact and go back and forth more verbally with the cast. So I like that they added the Looney Tunes in there. Overall, I'm looking forward to it. I hope this movie is a win on two fronts. I hope it's a win just to prove a how Warner Bros was wrong to fucking kill this movie or try to. But two, I feel like there's just a criminal absence of live action animated projects. Like we had Space Jam 2, which was fucking trash. And and I guess we had what was it? The Chipmunk movie that came out a few years ago that was kind of like a Roger Rabbit spiritual successor because they even had Roger Rabbit show up as a cameo. But besides that, we really haven't had a whole lot of live action projects, and especially with animation pretty much being fully phased out between animation being rendered not as ideal as 3D animation. It's kind of nice to see live action traditional, relatively mostly made through traditional animation. A bit you could tell is like 3D and a little bit of touch ups and stuff like that. But I'm kind of hoping this leads to more projects like this being made because I like them, and it's a unique genre that we don't see a lot of. And then when we do see it, it's a very mixed bag on if we have something good or bad. Like Space Jam 2, I think most people would agree is a bad movie. It's not even a bad movie. It's just a full advert for HBO Max. That was just a movie showing every possible IP that Warner Brothers owned, and hey, sign up for HBO Max and look at all these shows and movies and characters you can watch on our platform. That was pretty much what that movie was. It was just a full on advert funded with LeBron. Was it LeBron James? Yeah, it was LeBron James as the new Michael. That was pretty much what that movie was. And then I cannot think of those chipmunks names. I want to say album, but I know it's not album. It's the other ones that they had. It was like a detective movie, I think. And so between that, and I mean that movie was okay-ish. I know it had the controversy with the Peter Pan cameo in there, but by and large, I mean I heard decent things about it. And then you had the Tom and Jerry movie that came out that was live action, but that looked like trash from the trailers. I mean, they didn't even look like they tried to make that even look believable. You could clearly tell that even more than other live action projects. Like I was talking about how Foghorn Leghorn seemed a little bit kind of 3D looking in this trailer. And that film, I felt like they didn't even really try to make them look like actual cartoon characters. They had even more noticeable of that weird hybrid live action like animation, like 2D animation, 3D animation mix that just doesn't work for me. It comes off just very distracting because you can look at the character and you can tell that they're not 3D, but you can also tell that they're not 2D. And when they move, especially when they move, it looks weird, at least to me. So, at least we're not in that territory of like the Tom and Jerry movie, which was just terrible. I think universally people agreed that that was bad. But honestly, I mean, on the side note, I think if you had the right team behind a live action Tom and Jerry movie, or even not like a Tom and Jerry movie, but like a short, like you can do like a collection of shorts of Tom and Jerry in a live action setting. I think that could be pretty fun. Like all the different types of interactions they can have, the way that they can make different types of traps, elaborate types of ways of trying to capture each other or beat each other. I think it could be pretty cool if it was actually like done correctly, which has not been done yet. And I think we got another Tom and Jerry movie coming out, which is I don't know. It's kind of weird because to me, I don't really see. They're iconic, but this is like what the second or third. I think this is like the third Tom and Jerry movie we've gotten in 10 years. I mean, it's like we haven't even gotten a Mickey Mouse movie ever, and somehow Tom and Jerry are on their like third movie in 10 years. I mean, at least the Looney Tunes, even though they are just fucking the redhead stepchild of Warner Bros., at least they've gotten two movies in 2 years. Like at least they've gotten some, fucking Mickey Mouse and Donald and Goofy. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I don't think they've had a movie. Definitely not Mickey. I don't think Goofy's had a movie since his first movie. So it's kind of wild that Tom and Jerry have continuous movies when their movies are just fucking bad. And I mean, not that they're bad characters, but their movies are not good and are not received well. I can't imagine they do that good at the box office because the last one didn't do too well. But it's kind of interesting how those two characters keep getting back to. I don't know if this new one is a live action one. I think it's animated, but it's just interesting how they just keep having a fucking backlog of movies made. But yeah, that was the Coyote versus Acme trailer, and I'm glad we're finally getting it. I'm glad that it looks good. Cause man, if this trailer had been bad, I think this would have been even rougher for the movie because it would just given the people who think that well this movie should have just been buried. There's a reason it didn't come out. It would have given more of I wouldn't say a rightful, but it would have given people like a justification of see Warner Bros. Is right to bury this because it's a bad movie. Which even that, like, even if it's a bad movie, so fucking what? The whole point of making a movie is to release the fucking movie. Even if you think it's a bad movie, you still release it. Because also, there's a thing of perception that changes over time. So, like, even if the movie came out and it was awful initially, who's to say in 10 years or a few years or a few months doesn't develop a cult following? You never know. Like, so many iconic movies were flops when they came out. So, you can't predict these things. You can't just say a movie's bad therefore it should be terminated. Like, also, what kind of logic is that? So we're gonna have to hope that a studio looks at a movie that they make and say, okay, this movie is good. We're gonna release it, or oh, we think it's gonna be bad. We're gonna fucking kill it in the womb. That sounds. It almost sounds in a way like some weird fucking Hollywood corporate dystopia of like they somehow internally like kind of decide like what movies are released from their own kind of review, like well this movie's bad, we're gonna kill it. Well, this movie looks good, we'll release it and might make some money back like that. Honestly, I'm not actually too sure we're far off from that happening. That could still happen in a few years of how all these fucking billion-dollar corporations are fusing together. But that's a whole other fucking thing. But besides that, I am going to be interested in this coming out, and I think that's going to be it for me on this for now. And until next time, I will see you good people later.